Hello, I'm your host, John Cavendish, and welcome to the Amazon Strategist Show, the show that's all strategy, no hacks, no silver bullets, no magic pills, just real long-term strategies to grow your Amazon business. Today, my guest is Chris Grant. Chris is a longtime partner of Seller Candy, actually one of our biggest affiliates, and just in general, an awesome dude. He is basically one of the biggest influences in the online arbitrage space, and I really wanted to get him on to share more about online arbitrage with our audience. OA, or online arbitrage, is really one of the ways that a lot of people get into Amazon in the first place, because it's a way of, with less investment, getting onto the Amazon platform and starting to make money, make cash flow. I think this was a really cool conversation because we can dive into things like whether you should be using OA as an additional stream to your Amazon business, what the OA scene is like right now, and then Chris can share about how he helps and supports and shares content about how you can really get into the OA space yourself. So without further ado, husband, father, investor, entrepreneur, content creator, e-commerce marketer, and basically just an amazing guy who shares everything that he knows. Welcome, Chris Grant.
What's going on, John? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. And it's been a while since we've chatted, actually. Chris
absolutely.
is a busy man. He is the hardest man to get hold of in the world. I think him and Jeff Bezos, if you email either of them, you get an email back within a little while. So, Chris, you founded cleartheshelf.com and the OA Challenge. I love your merch. We're going to get some nice merch too very soon.
Nice.
We'll send you one.
Awesome. Thank you.
If we can get American sizes in Vietnam. Even for me, it's difficult to get an American
really?
t-shirt that will fit me in Vietnam.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Wow, cool. So thank you for coming on the show, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, man.
So can you tell me a bit about your journey? Because I actually know, how did you get into this whole OA space and become Chris Grant from, just Chris?
It's a great question. So I think that I've always had the entrepreneur bug. And when I was in 8th grade or so, I actually started flipping pizza at school. We negotiated pizza down to about 50 cents a slice at Pizza Hut. We had it delivered, and then we would sell it to the students for $1. And we made enough money with that we actually took our 8th grade class to a trip to Niagara Falls, and we were able to give some money back to the school. And I think we bought some basketball hoops or something, and then we kind of spread that out to chips and cookies and all kinds of stuff, and created a business for future 8th graders at the little school I went to, and that turned into having my brothers shovel snow back in Ohio. I would go do the selling and they would go do the hard work. And then I'd cut them off a little piece of the action. And then I got into selling insurance when I turned 18. So as soon as I turned 18, I knew that I no longer wanted to push carts at the local grocery store. And I joined the family business and learned sales and things like that. But my way of selling was always through education. It was never, I was never a hard salesman or anything like that. I shared with people kind of why they needed the certain coverages that they need and let them know, really how things worked. But as I got a little bit older and my wife and I started to want to have a family, I did not want to be slinging insurance in the streets at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I wanted to be able to be home a bit more. And so I started looking around for ways to make money at home. And I stumbled upon drop shipping on eBay before it was, before everybody and their brother knew what drop shipping was. So we drop shipped on eBay for a little while. And after a couple of months, I realized that I didn't think it was really something that would scale very well, because I would stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning fulfilling orders, answering emails and things like that. And so I was like, there's got to be something to this, but there must be something better. And that was not too long after Amazon actually started the FBA program. And so I started doing a little bit more researching. I came across Chris Green. I came across a few other influencers back then, and I just started learning as much as I could. And if I learned, I would share the information. I never. I'm always one who, if I figure something out, I'll just share it freely. I don't mind. And so once we kind of figured out retail arbitrage, I was like, well, I don't want to go drive around and clear all these shelves. So let's figure out online arbitrage. And we moved over to online arbitrage, and then I've always kind of been someone who wants to document the journey and share what I can. And so that got me into YouTube and blogging, and I don't know, I really enjoy marketing and things like that. And so kind of learning that piece, and then that led me to, okay, well, if I see issues in the community, that led me to, hey, let's build some software. And so we've built IP Alert, we built Rev ROI, and a few other tools for the community. And that kind of got me to where I am today.
Oh, I love it. And I love the piece about giving back at your school. Has that always been a part of what you do, with the pizza and setting up for the future generations?
I mean, I don't know. It's just something that comes sort of naturally. I don't know if it was necessarily, taught or anything like that, but we were sitting around and we were kicking around some ideas in eighth grade math class, and we were like, hey, what are some ways that we can make money? And then once we figured that out and kind of got it down to a science, I was like, we need to set this up and kind of put out. We were learning how to write papers on how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And that's kind of our first, it's kind of our first taste of building out a standard operating procedure in grade school. And so as we kind of figured this whole process out, we, put in what are now standard operating procedures and, gave that to the next class so that they could take over. Because the eighth grade, I went to a small private school, and eighth grade was kind of, the king of the mountain. And so, we were supposed to help out the younger kids, and that was our class's way of helping out the younger kids.
Ah, super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And such a cool entrepreneurial journey. At the end there, you touched on a bit about retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Could you define them just for anyone who's, really not done any of them in the past? Because actually, I haven't even done RA or OA in the past.
Absolutely. And as business owners and entrepreneurs and things like that, we all know that there are inefficiencies in the marketplace. It's just the way it is. It has always been that way. And all the way back to, when they were taking gold from one place and selling it another place for more money, or for when silver was being arbitraged. And so it's always been that way when there's a marketplace. And so arbitragers just take advantage of those inefficiencies. And so if you go buy something at the local Target or Walmart, because it's a smaller marketplace, or maybe something was sent to them that just doesn't sell well, we can then take it to a bigger marketplace, usually mark it up enough to make a profit on it, and we take advantage of that inefficiency. And now, because marketplaces are so fragmented, there are thousands and thousands of retailers online. There are, hundreds or thousands of retailers that are in the brick and mortar space. There's tons of these places where we can find something that sells for more at a bigger audience. And that's essentially what retail arbitrage and online arbitrage are.
I love it. And it's basically the business as old as time, isn't it? Buy something from someone and sell it to someone else for more money.
Yeah, I typically like to tell people that it's the second oldest job in the world.
We won't go into the oldest job in the world.
We won't go into the oldest job in the world.
So what's the kind of path to OA? Like what scale is possible, and then what's kind of a path to scale with this type of business model?
Yeah. I like to say that there really is no glass ceiling with online arbitrage. If you've got procedures in place, and you can run a team, and you have processes, and you know exactly what you're looking for, the only limit really is how much capital you have. And of course, you can overcome that by taking on debt or partners or investors or whatever. But I know people who are doing, high six figures. I know people who are doing mid seven figures, and I know, maybe two or three who are doing eight figures, not nine figures, eight figures in online or retail arbitrage. Now there are people doing probably more than that, but they typically aren't hanging out in Facebook groups and things like that, where I tend to hang out. They've got their nose to the grindstone running a team. But there really is no limit. Now, realistically, you can easily do $2 or $3 million with you and one or two other people, and then some prep help.
Cool. So I guess that comes to like, what would be a day in the life of an RA seller? OA, not RA.
Yeah.
Get in your car and drive around store to store.
If you're just starting out, it's going to look a lot different than if you've got this thing mastered and you have a whole team and a process. But if you're just starting out, one, you're going to want to educate yourself as much as possible. And today there are no secrets on the internet anymore. So you can check YouTube. I've been enjoying Arbitrage Twitter lately. I would stay away from TikTok. I don't think the quality of education is quite as good over there. But there's a lot of YouTube content that's out there that's really good. Facebook groups, Discords, and all kinds of things. So there is no lack of information. And the community is usually really willing to help you out. So if you ask specific questions, you're usually going to get good answers. So a day in the life of a new seller would be taking in a lot of information and then going and practicing at a small scale, buying 2 or 3 items that you find that you think are profitable. And maybe you do that with 5 or 6 different SKUs, and you send them in and you kind of test the waters. Someone who's been around a while, they might utilize lead lists. And I know you've had Eli on here, who runs an excellent lead list. I actually am a client and a user of his lead list. It's great.
Not yet. Actually, we need to get him in as a guest soon.
Oh, you're having him as a guest soon. Okay.
Well, we haven't got him on yet, but we'll get him on.
Yeah, get Eli on here. He's great. So you might utilize lead lists. You might have a team of VAs or even local people who do some sourcing for you, and leads just show up ready for you to look through. And then it's time to double check the work and buy. And then hopefully you have some sort of prep process in place. My prep process is it all goes to a prep center out in tax-free Oregon. There are other tax-free states like Montana, New Hampshire, and Delaware where you could also get a prep center. And then it goes there. And then once a week, I get a big shipment that goes into Amazon. And that's essentially what our process looks like every day.
I love it. And that's a big tip there for anyone who isn't US centric or doesn't know about the tax situation in the US. It's different from state to state, and wherever you nexus and put your stuff really affects how much tax you pay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here in Florida where I'm at, it's 7.25%. In some places, sales tax is as high as 10%, and your cost to prep might be $1.50 a unit. So if you're in an area where it's 10% sales tax, well, you're going to break even if you're paying $1.50 a unit and your cost per unit is $15 or more. So in most cases, because I stick to some higher dollar items, I actually put money back in my pocket, even though someone else handles all of the prep for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And you talked about leads. Leads is a very OA-centric term. Like, what do you define as a lead?
So it's essentially an item that you can purchase at a store and hopefully sell on Amazon for more. So let's say that you have a team or a lead list or something like that, and they go scour the internet for sales or regular priced products that just sell for more on a larger marketplace like Amazon. And you'll get a spreadsheet full of those every day. And so maybe it's a shampoo at Target that you match with a conditioner at Target, and you bundle that up, take it over to Amazon, and it sells for more. One, for the convenience factor of being able to get shampoo and conditioner with one click. and the fact that, it's just at a place that gets more eyeballs than Target might. And it sounds silly because everyone's like, oh, well, people are just going to go out and Google and do the searching and find the cheaper price. But that's not the case. Something like 65% of product searches start on Amazon. They totally bypass Google and they start on Amazon. So it might be different where you are, but I know that quite often, I'll hop in bed and, it's my wife and I are chatting and we'll talk about something. All of a sudden, Amazon gets pulled up on someone's phone and you're starting a product search because you had an idea or you talked about a decoration for an upcoming holiday and you totally bypass Google. And that's kind of what we get to leverage in our arbitrage business.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like here where me and my wife are based in Vietnam, there's like so much competition right now on different marketplaces. So, there's Lazada, Shopee, a couple of other ones, Tiki. But Shopee, you'll know Shopee because if you ever come to Asia, they're so big in Asia and they're really dominating right now. They've got the most annoying notification tone you've ever heard in your life. It goes, Shopee, Shopee, and it's turned on by default. And you can hear it across the road, like when you're walking around town. It's just like everywhere. It's like if like Amazon went, Amazon, like everyone's ordering and getting notifications on Amazon all the time. It was just their phones were just shouting at them.
That's fascinating.
But I love seeing stuff, like you're on Instagram or on Facebook and you see one of those cool products that's like, like those LED lights you have in the corner of your room. I've seen them quite a bit, which light up. So I just went on to Lazada. I was like, oh, cool. I get it from China for a third of the price. In 4 days delivery. And that's the cool thing about living in Asia. I'll just be like,
yeah,
I like this brand that someone's private labeled, but I know the manufacturer can send it direct to me for $25, not 130. But that's super cool. So we all know that it's all great when business is going well. And what are some of the perils of not to scare people off, just so that people know what they're getting into?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things. Number one, you've got to make sure to keep good records. And I know that seems like, just good general business advice, but, there are some brands who don't particularly like their products being what they think is diluted from, their marketplace share. And now they may not sell on Amazon at all. For example, Kraft macaroni and cheese. They don't sell on Amazon. But if they one day up and decided that they did not want third-party sellers selling on Amazon, they could do things like file IP complaints that you've got to fight, or accuse you of selling counterfeit products or something like that. Now, all of this is something that you can fight and show Amazon that that's not really the case, but it does kind of give you a headache to deal with. Fortunately, we've got Seller Candy to take care of that for us, rather than having to deal with it ourselves all the time. That's the biggest thing. The other thing is you do have to deal with a dynamic marketplace. Prices are always shifting on Amazon. We know that, according to studies, prices on Amazon change over 1 billion times per day. And that means that your item might not sell for what you had hoped it would, which is why you need to have some cushion in your margin when you source. So there are times when products become unprofitable that you've already purchased and paid for, and it's not like you can have them sent back to you from Amazon and you can return them, but I don't do that because if I make a bad buy, that's on me, it's part of business, and I don't want the retailer to get a bad taste in their mouth of me doing business with them. And so you've got to deal with that. And the marketplace is maturing. There are people who are, for the first 7 or 8 years, it was kind of the Wild West. And, Amazon was getting their ducks in a row. But, now that we're a little bit further along, Amazon is really starting to get things in a row and, making sure that we have to follow all the rules and things like that is, becoming a little bit more difficult. And people who do the same thing as me are becoming more mature business people and realizing that, okay, well, we used to get 50% margins all the time and we could walk into any Walmart or Target and buy just about anything and sell it for a profit. But now we realize that, okay, well, I need to run this like a business, and I'm going to have 10 or 12% margins, which is still pretty healthy. But I need to focus on flipping things faster and allowing that ROI to compound over time. And as people are learning that, it becomes a little bit harder to kind of get into this and be super, super successful quickly. It takes a little bit more patience than it used to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if margins are going down from up to 50% to say 12 to 15, then you're sitting on way more inventory. I guess your capital outlay is getting bigger to get to that scale to build up, especially if you're only purchasing at a low rate.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what struck me actually. We're talking to some OA sellers in the past. We've got a lot of OA seller clients. Is the amount they're spending. Once it gets up to scale, like, oh well, if you want to be selling $100,000 a month, $3,000 a day, you've got a 12% margin after Amazon's fees. That means you're, at least to maintain, you're spending $40,000 a month, 30 to 40. So that means you're spending $1,000 to $2,000 a day on purchases. Once you get to scale, obviously you can start out spending $50 a day on product and making a little bit of cash flipping things. But
exactly,
interesting when you see that, and especially if you're an American, credit card points. I wish I was doing
credit card points. There are some cool things you can take advantage of. So you got credit card points, which you could use for travel if you wanted to. You've got cashback credit cards, which you need to check with a CPA or a tax attorney or whoever. But most cashback programs, whether it's through a Rakuten or something like that, or a credit card, they're often tax advantaged in some way. So some people just flip for the points and the cash back and live on that.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Some of those cashback and points are worth 2 to 5% on some of those cards. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so I spent $1,000 at one retailer this afternoon, and they through, I can't remember which cashback portal it was, but I got 8.5% in cashback. So I'm going to get about $85 from that cashback portal, and then I've got another 1.5% cashback on my credit card. So, and that's before I even sell it. Yeah,
that's awesome. It's not good for the future of the banking system, is it? The fact that they're making so many fees, they're getting charged to us merchants, or people that are selling stuff at the end, and all these fees come back somewhere, and the banks are basically just getting richer on the back end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The older I get and the more we do international business, the more I love and dislike international payment transfers and payment processes.
Oh,
Who wants to pay Stripe $5,000 to $10,000 a month?
Exactly. And yeah, it's crazy. I know PayPal recently changed some of their terms. And I used to be able to send people, friends and family money, and they stripped that away from me. They want to get a few more thousand out of me every single month, I guess.
Yeah. PayPal, I don't know about their customer service recently, but trying to deal with them if anything goes wrong, just like Facebook, isn't it? It's like a black hole of uselessness.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can rip apart some SaaS companies in the future. Reason Seller Candy exists, I can't complain about any of this stuff. Seller Candy exists because of inefficiencies in the marketplace.
Exactly.
With Amazon support. So, we made a very profitable business out of it. Cool. Anything else you want to share about OA before we get into some kind of news and general Amazon world chat?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I think we covered a bunch of it. I know a lot of folks who listen are probably going to be more PL focused, but this is a good way to be able to cash flow on the side. We recently had someone who came through the OA challenge who is a PL first guy, but he uses OA to cash flow and then fund his private label business whenever he wants to bring on a new line. And so it's worked out really well for him. I'm fascinated by his business model.
No, I love that. And
Yeah.
I love that you can start small with OA. It's not like, oh, right, now I need to legitimately to start a good private label product that's going to make you, not make you rich, but it's going to make you some decent money. You need to be, you need to have 20 to $50,000 ready to go, at least to scale, because you're making
Yeah.
the initial 5 to 10K investment. And if it goes well, if you run out of stock immediately, you're kind of screwed. So it's all about that and planning for all these crap that's going on with China right now and making sure you're not going out of business if they jack the rates yet again, which is absolutely
Hmm.
insane.
Exactly. Yeah. And on the OA side, you could start with, I mean, you could start with anything. I started with about $200 doing retail arbitrage, but nowadays you could start with 500 as long as you're willing to be patient and just put in the work.
Yeah, I love it. And I would really encourage anyone who's watching this or watching the replays, because we get a lot more people watching the replays, to to give it a go. Check out Chris's stuff. It's the best place to start, in my opinion. Chris does run a few things like the OA Challenge, which is how many times a year? 2 times a year, usually?
Live, we do it typically 3 or 4 times a
Oh,
year, and then we
okay.
have
More.
replays all the time.
More replays, more. And actually, Chris has offered one of these for our giveaway, which is happening later today. So stay on and enter so that you can actually win a copy of the replay. If
Yeah.
not, I'm sure you can buy it. I'm sure Chris exchanges money for items. um, cool. So just so we have a few more minutes. Amazon, like what do you see right now that's happening in the space with like fee increases, drone deliveries? What do you see before we
Yeah.
dive into the game
So,
show?
well, Thursday, Amazon did release another fee increase. So here
Mm.
in the States, we've had what they call an inflation surcharge already. When gas prices were, coming close to, I guess they were $5 in some places. They never quite
Mhm.
made it there here. Um, and that has not gone away yet, even though the prices of gas have receded.
Mm.
But now, because Amazon's not only a retailer, they're also a shipping carrier. Now they are adding a fulfillment fee increase for Q4,
Mm.
just like the post office has, just like UPS is going to. And so they did say it's going to be about 35 cents per unit on average that
Wow.
the increase will be. But it is on a sliding scale. I think I shared it on Twitter and Instagram here recently. If anybody wanted to go find it and take a look, but it is something that people are going to want to make sure that they take a look at. If you're in the PL space, you get to kind of hold your prices to what you want them to be a little bit more
Mm.
than arbitrage sellers can. So you want to make sure that that's all factored in. And for arbitrage sellers, you need to make sure that you're factoring those new fees, those increased fees, on top of increased Q4 storage fees, so that at the end of the day, you're actually still making some money and you're not going in the red.
Yeah, I mean, it's so powerful owning the platform, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of the main thing. Like, you own the platform, we are all beholden to Amazon. We need to make sure that we're ahead of the game for if anything like that happens.
Exactly. I was actually just thinking the other day. I was like, okay, well, there's Walmart, which has its marketplace now. There's Amazon. There's eBay and Etsy, and Airbnb is really just a marketplace. And I
Mm.
was like, I've got to figure out what kind of marketplace I could build.
Mm.
Whether it's a service marketplace or something like that. One of the biggest marketplaces that people never talk about is a place called Envato,
Mm.
Envato. They
Never heard.
sell like WordPress themes and all kinds of things. They're a multi-billion-dollar business, and they're just a marketplace for other people to sell WordPress-related items.
Mm.
Uh, and so, yeah, owning a marketplace, you get a couple of things. One, you get people who sell on it to tell
Mm.
other people about it, so you get the network effect. And then you just get to sit back and kind of collect fees from everyone selling on your marketplace.
Yeah, totally agreed. I'll just to share, I was at an event here in Ho Chi Minh City a couple of weeks ago, and I was chatting to the woman next to me, and I was like, "What do you do?" and she says that they own a company called Freelancer Viet, which is basically Upwork for Vietnamese. So
Okay.
Vietnamese has 100 million people in Vietnam. So there's a Vietnamese local version of Upwork. I was like, oh, that's cool. Sounds great. And she was like, oh, she was like, ask them how they make money, of course. And it's a subscriber model. They pay $15 a month to subscribe to be
Okay.
on the platform in US dollars. And I was like, she was like, cool. We've been going 12 years. We've got 700,000 users.
Wow.
I was like, interesting. And how many employees do you have? 15.
It's a perfect business.
Yeah. And I was like, so that means you're doing 9 million US dollars a month. And she was like, yeah, about. She's like, oh, but it's not all profit. We have marketing costs and operation costs. And I was like, oh, so, 80%. She's like, probably 80%. It's just one of those
Those
things.
are tough.
You sit next to these people and you're like, wow, yeah. I mean, some business models are just made to scale, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Yeah. It was one of those things, and it's like, wow, what can I take away from that we can apply to Seller Candy in terms of the value that we can offer? And I always thought $15 was too little to charge for things, but not if you have 700,000 people subscribed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you find a big enough marketplace, and that scales very well.
Yeah. Oh, I love meeting those people because they're always the most unassuming people, aren't they? The people who are making the most noise are not necessarily the people who are making the most impact, or really the guys behind the machines. It's pretty interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, says us. We're both talking on podcasts right now. Some guy in the background there making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Awesome. So just because we're coming to about 30 minutes, it's getting into time for our game show game. So we always want to give back to our audience here at the Amazon Strategist Show. I'm just getting our intro ready because it looks super cool. And and part of that is that we have a game show game. All of our guests, when they come, give 1 to 3 prizes. Chris put 3 in because he's smart and he knows you'll stay on the wheel for longer. And then we spin it a couple of times, and you have a chance to win either something from Chris or something from one of our previous guests. So Chris has very kindly put together 2 copies of IP Alert, the software. So if you're wanting to give OA a try, I definitely get IP Alert. It's just one of those little things that helps you not screw up, or screw up less often, because everyone's going to screw up testing this out. Trust me, none of us have done a business and not screwed up in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 copy of the OA Challenge replay, which is basically education to get you going. And I'd highly recommend taking part in one of Chris's OA challenges because it's just, the group feeling and peer pressure to actually make it work. Peer pressure is real. On top of that, in the back end, we still have from AMPD, Amped, we have a campaign review, and they will help you set up your Google ads to your Amazon products. We have an hour-long call with John Elder of Black Label Advisor. We have some referrers on subscriptions, so getting social media influencers to help you with your Amazon business. We have some Zonguru health check. We have AMZ Clever consulting call if you want a PL consulting session with Daniel Fernandez, one of the best consultants I know out there for strategy. Fortunet, you have an M&A audit of your Amazon business. And from Seller Candy, we have reimbursements. So up to $400 of reimbursements free from Seller Candy, and a load of cash. So everyone likes cash. So enter below in the link. You have a chance of winning any of those or just some crisp $100 bills. Hopefully not too many, because last time somebody won $100. And the podcast costs me lots more money every time. Every time people wins the $100 prize. All right. So let's load up the wheel so that we can spin the wheel. And here we go. We do need to figure out how to get music in the background at some point for this. But Chris, you have control. You don't actually have control. I always say that, and everyone tries to click it, but no, you have to say spin that wheel, and then.
All right. John, spin that wheel.
No, it's not actually me either. It's our producer, Vivian. Awesome. Cool. So we have not even announced, because I didn't read it off the list, we have $500 from Ecom Balance from Nathan Hirsch, who was on
Oh, that's
was on
fantastic.
last week. So $500 of bookkeeping credit. We will introduce you to Nathan next week. So we've always pulled the winners after, and we've actually got some winners to announce after this one. So yeah, Nathan was on last week. What an awesome dude! So much energy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, just such a good reputation in the industry. Whatever industry, he just seems to be everywhere, anywhere, everywhere, all at once. I still need to watch that movie. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. People keep recommending it to me.
Yeah, me too.
Do you want to spin it again since we're on the live show, Chris?
Sure
Let's
thing.
do it.
Yeah.
You have to say.
Oh, spin that wheel.
You are in control. Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. And we have a 1 month subscription to Referazon. So also very cool. The thing I really like about Referazon is they're a mixture of a influencer platform and an education platform. So when we had Tanner come in and talk about it, he basically says that they have templates to help you get up to 30% response rate from the people you reach out to be your influencers, as opposed to the usual like 1% or 1 to 3%. So highly recommend you taking advantage of that, because it's basically almost like a course plus software all in one, is how I understand it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because yeah, I mean, who wants a software where you can't actually get results?
Right.
Awesome. So thank you, Chris. Let's enter this back to the main stage so that we can announce the winners. Okay, so time to announce the winners from previous weeks. Now, announcing the winners. So, number one, I'm just going to be reading from a list here, because we've got a few to catch up on, because we haven't been doing this for a little while. If you can just make me full screen for a minute, Viv, so we can announce the winners. So, first we have Stephen Bollinger, who will be winning the $400 worth of free reimbursements from our sponsors, Seller Candy, which obviously is us. But always good to sponsor your own stuff. And yeah, so Stephen Bollinger, we will be reaching out to you and getting you set up with those $400 worth of reimbursements. So congratulations, and welcome to the Seller Candy family, at least for $400. Number two, we have Alessandro Carnati. He won last week the $1,000 bookkeeping credit from Ecom Balance. So from Nathan, who someone else has just won this week. So $1,000 of bookkeeping credit, depending on the size of your business, could be anything from, I believe, 4 to 5 months up until 1 month if you're a 7 or 8 figure seller. So yeah, we're going to reach out and introduce you to Nathan and his team, and they're going to get you set up for your first $1,000 of bookkeeping credit. We have 5 winners total to announce. 3, we have Joseph Petruzilio. He has won the 2-month subscription to Referazon. So from Tanner, thanks so much for entering. And we're going to reach out to you as well to introduce you to Tanner and his team. Now, who's won the $1,000 Amazon PPC course from Trivium from Mina Elias is Adam. So Adam, you don't have a surname, but we have your email, so we'll reach out to you, Adam. If you're called Adam and you're watching, then you have a good chance of winning. And depends which Adam you are. Finally, we have Mr. Sean Hay, who has won 3 months of My Horizons from Laura. So My Horizons, awesome piece of software. We will intro you to Laura and her team so you can get all that set up. So next time we'll be announcing 2 or 3 winners. If you are excited to enter, please do enter from the link below, whether this is on the pre-recording or whether you're watching live, so that you can win one of these amazing prizes. I mean, literally thousands of dollars giving away every single episode. And awesome. Thanks, Chris. Who do you want to win your prize?
Oh, that's a good question. Anybody who needs it, I'm happy to have them have it.
Yeah, totally agreed. Awesome. So moving into the next section. Now we have the rapid fire questions. The reason we do rapid fire questions is it's always fun. And there's always some funny outtakes. All right, so there are potentially 8 questions, although there are actually some extra ones today. So maybe we'll add some more, maybe we won't. You'll have to watch and see. Chris, so the rules are you have to answer the first thing that comes to mind, and you can give 1-word answers.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Question number 1. What is your favorite Amazon niche?
Beauty.
If you could choose no pictures or no reviews, what would you pick?
No reviews.
Name a country that starts with the letter G.
Georgia.
Which Amazon marketplace is the next big opportunity?
India.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Name something appealing about working from home.
One-word answer?
You can have 3 words.
Freedom of time.
Oh, very good. And that amazing picture behind you. Google ads or Facebook ads?
Google ads.
Name something you'd hate to find swimming around in your bathtub.
An alligator.
You are in Florida. Yeah. What name a downside of cycling to work?
Sweat.
Definitely also in Florida, same as here.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same weather as here. So thank you, Chris. You passed. And we're going to have some amazing outtakes we can share with you to share on your socials from that.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's fun. I like that.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show as well. So we now go into our live Q&A section. So we now have about 5-10 minutes of live Q&A before we exit. So feel free to submit any comment or question to the below where you're watching. If you're watching live, if you're not watching live, still submit a comment if you want. We will answer it at some point, but we'll have to write the answer back. But submit it below this video, and then we will pin it up on the screen. Oh, I see some stuff coming in from Instagram. From Instagram, what product category would you recommend as low risk?
Well, for online arbitrage, I think home and kitchen would be a low risk category. Maybe tools and home improvement. But both of those categories, nothing you're going to ingest, nothing you're going to put on your skin. And typically, the return should be a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I guess clothing would be the worst. Or
returns-wise, yeah.
Returns-wise, yeah. And hopefully no one's ingesting any hardware products. So yeah, no, very good. Thank you for that. What else? Any other questions? And Rana also says cosmetics. So yeah, thanks for commenting to a comment, Rana. And yeah, I'd agree. I think a lot of our clients, I can't say what products they sell, obviously, but lots of people do cosmetics because easy to buy in bulk, easy to move, high volume,
small, light, yeah.
All right. From the Amazon Strategist show somewhere else, I don't know where that's coming from. What category usually has the highest margins? Great question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. If you can buy right, I would say beauty and personal care probably has some of the highest margins. You can use coupons, sales, discounts, and other ways to lower your cost of goods sold. And some makeup products sell for a ridiculous, to me, it's a ridiculous amount of money. To the end consumer, it's, it's what they're willing to pay.
Yeah. Having a wife, I would say that's very true.
Yeah, I have one too.
Not that I don't. No, not that men can't spend a lot of money on products, and I think she does buy me expensive skincare products. But I don't know how much they cost.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're not cheap.
They're really not cheap. And now I'm supposed to wear SPF sunscreen so that I don't look so old so quickly, you know?
Yeah. Here in Florida, I've been trying to be better about that. So,
Yeah, SPF moisturizing cream.
hmm
So yeah, um, Chris's answer was beauty. Beauty. Next question. Yeah, Rana says IT products, laptops. Potentially, it really depends on returns and on gating of these categories.
yeah, I've sold some. I have never sold laptops, but I've sold things like phones and things like
Mm,
that. Never had too much of an issue, but one of the issues you run into with that particular category, which that category is where some of the largest sellers on Amazon play.
mm,
Uh, but if you're doing arbitrage, you do have to worry about fraud and things like that. People returning bricks instead of a computer, and that can cut down your margins quite a bit. I don't often get a return of a beauty product.
mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I've heard some horror stories about people, yeah, getting bricks and things like that back, and then seller candy fighting them.
Yep,
You know, we can help with all that stuff. It's just, yeah, I mean, if you're $800 out of pocket for a while, you know, unless you're a huge business, even if you're a huge business, then it sucks, you know, doesn't it? It's just like so much money just sitting on your P&L in
exactly.
AR. Like, who wants accounts receivable sitting there, which isn't cash in your pocket? I mean, it technically is profit until you write it off at the end of the year. But that's when your accountant says, "Oh, you had all this money, and now it's all just it was paper money that existed in the P&L."
The good news is your tax liability is a little bit lower when that happens.
I mean, that's what they say. Oh, the good news is your tax is low. I was like, yeah, but I'd rather have the cash in my
Exactly.
pocket and pay tax on it, especially in Florida, where you guys have got really good tax rates.
Yes.
From Twitter, which online stores in Europe would you recommend for sourcing products? I mean, that's a really good question. Do
Yeah.
you recommend Europe? Do you have any guys selling in Europe?
Yeah. I've got several friends who sell in the UK, Europe, Israel, all across. Got friends in Australia, all over the place. But in the UK, Europe, Tesco is a great place to get
Mm,
started. Boots is another great place if you want to get into the beauty or the drugstore
mm.
type product niche. Trying to think of some other stores over there that I'm familiar with. Those are probably the only two that I'm really familiar with, just because that's not my marketplace of choice.
Mm.
But I know people who make money from those two places regularly.
Yeah, Tesco and Boots. Yeah, I mean, super high street stores. Funny if
Mhm.
you can't you wouldn't call them a drugstore in the UK. Drugstore would be something a bit different. Like it
Okay.
sounds like you're gonna go to a drug dealer and go to his drugstore.
Yeah,
But yeah,
see for us
pharmacy.
here in the States, we call a pharmacy a drugstore, and there's one on every corner. So
I mean,
you
now
go around
literally
the
there's
back for
also a
the
drugstore in every. I mean, there's also a drugstore in every corner as well now on the now in the States,
yeah,
dispensary or whatever everywhere. It's very
exactly.
confusing about which ones are legal. But Florida's you need some kind of prescription, don't you? Still,
It is medicinal. You do need a green card here in Florida.
yeah. I remember walking around Florida, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like now when you're in the US in certain areas, all you smell is weed when you're walking around the
Oh yeah,
streets.
yeah. You walk, go to San Francisco and go to Haight and Ashbury or something. Which there's a bunch of really great like breakfast spots there. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it just smells like pot everywhere.
Yeah, we were in Vegas for St. Patrick's Day for Prosper Show. So anyone who's going to be at Prosper next year, feel free to hit us up. We'll be exhibiting there again. We weren't exhibiting this year. We'll be exhibiting next year. And around St. Patrick's Day, and yeah, it was just like insanity around Vegas. It was great. Lots of green painted everything. Okay, from Twitter, I have a small budget. How do I get started? I mean,
It's a good
small is
question.
different question from everyone, but yeah, let's
Yeah,
say $400 to $1,000.
yeah. So yeah, like you said, this is subjective, but you know, you just what I suggest is that you take a series of very small bets.
Mm,
It's okay to buy one or two products across a multitude of SKUs and test them out to make sure that it works. So there's nothing wrong with that. Buy two products that look successful, send them in, or wait till you have 10 or 20 or something like that, so that your inbound shipping costs are a little bit lower per product, because that can eat into your profits. But buy what you can, test the method. The other cool thing is that, especially if you're in the States or something like that, it's very easy to do something called merchant fulfilled products. So you can actually buy products, have them in your cart, and if they're really fast moving products, you might sell them before you leave the store. I've done that on dozens of occasions. Christmas time, you'll find a hot selling product, you list it for sale, it sells before you walk out of the store, so you go buy them, and then you go home and you ship them out directly to the customer. You could try that method as well. It takes a little bit more of a skill set, but it is doable. But yeah, just start where you are, learn everything you can, take some small calculated bets, verify the model works, and then when you're ready, scale up or reinvest your profits into more and more. And then over a long enough time horizon, that will compound into something you're probably very happy with.
Yeah, awesome advice there. And I love that bit about product selling before you've left the store. That is the ultimate dream, isn't it? It's almost like consignment, self-consignment.
Oh, yeah.
You are the consignment you're holding in your hand, and it sells while you're holding it in your hand.
Yeah, one Christmas, and this has been a while ago, but it happens every year. There was a board game called Pie Face. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it would slap people in the face with some whipped cream. We got our hands on about 90 of them, and I would say that half of them sold before we even put them in the trunk of the car.
Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? And B Coffee loves that. Yeah, I love it. And and Rana says that he only knows about Lahore, Pakistan, not about UK marketing. But I thought that was a great comment. Thanks, Rana, for being a watcher of the show. Now we're getting towards the end, I think. Are there any more questions? Anything else that we can support? Chris's time is very valuable. My time is free. So let's see. 10 more seconds, because we're coming up to the end of the show. So also, Chris, how can people contact you if they want to reach out, they want to be in your sphere?
So I am pretty much everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. My handles are always at Clear the Shelf across all of those platforms. I am on TikTok as well, but I don't really create content there. It's just I'm much better at the longer format stuff. So, but yeah, I'm at Clear the Shelf everywhere. DMs are always open. Happy to chat. Anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, so please do slide into Chris's DMs anytime you feel the need. Awesome. So, Chris, thank you so much for being on the Amazon Strategist Show. I'm so grateful to you for what you did to support our business and what you will do to support our business, sending people our way. And I hope that we add some value to your community as well.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, anytime. So also, if you are an OA seller, PL seller, you don't know what either of those mean, but you're making money on Amazon, please, and you're having trouble with seller support, do reach out to Seller Candy. What we can do is anything that drives you absolutely crazy in the back end of Seller Central, whether that's IP complaints, flat files, feed files, basically calling up Amazon and shouting at them nicely on your behalf to make things happen the way you want them to happen. Please do reach out to sellercandy.com. And that brings us to the end of our episode. So thank you so much to Chris for joining us. And I hope you've really enjoyed this evening's episode. And thanks for listening to the Amazon Strategist Show. If you could subscribe, click any buttons that happen to be around the video that are not other videos, you can do that afterwards, then please follow us and enter the competition. This has been the Amazon Strategist Show. And thank you so much for being a member of our community. Goodbye.